Well, hello guys. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy Thursday. Today is June 17th, 2021, and welcome to the Promise Bible devotional. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope I sound good. I'm in a different location here tonight. Carol is on a call on the inside today. I just got in from work. It's Thursday, so I am right on key to be sharing Thursday's message with everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for your invite into this place and being able to check in and see what's going on here during this devotional. It's my honor to be able to continue to do this, and I think last week I got some really good feedback from y'all about changing up some of the little bit of the format and what the name of it was, and just kind of excited to be able to continue to move forward with this. So continue prayers for my dad, for Gail, and for Mary and Wayne. I checked in with Mary today. It looks like Wayne was going to be having a swallow test done, and we're going to evaluate what they were going to be able to do as far as that goes, and hopefully he did very well with that. Mary, you let me know a little bit later. I hope you had a good visit with him today. If all goes well with that, it seems like that next couple of days Wayne will be getting to go home. So that's promising. It's good, and it's also scary as anything. Mary, I'm feeling your scaredness. Because it is really tense, and you'll be the primary caregiver there for Dad at the house, and there's just no check-ins with anybody. There's no nurses, there's no doctors coming in, there's no physical therapy. So I'm concerned about that, but I'm happy that he's going to be getting home, and it's the only place that you can heal. The hospital is great for fixing, but you can't heal in a hospital. You need to get home and do what you need to do there. So Mary and Wayne, we're praying for you guys. We are also praying for baby mamas, okay? There's a list of them. We have Marissa, Maddie, Katie, Miranda, and Abriella. We congratulate you guys. We're praying for you all to continue to be healthy and the babies be well. It's such a blessing and just a miracle that we're going to be pushing forward with another round of a generation of little ones around. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Continue prayers for Carol and Harlan. Guys, I'm still lifting you guys up. Congrats to those for Noah. Noah is finishing up his last week of work, and he'll be in San Antonio next week doing some visiting. So that sounds pretty exciting before he starts his new job. And Kyle is finishing up this week, his first week of giving notice. So next week will be his last week before he gets a little bit of time off before starting Duke Energy on July 12th. And we do have a vacation that's going to be in between there. I'll let you guys know when that's coming. And I'm pretty excited about that. It's very much needed. I'm feeling, even though so much stuff on the plate, I'm feeling pretty burned out and need some rest. So that sounds like a Kenny song, doesn't it? Yeah, that sounds good. So continue prayers also. This is huge. This is big because either you experienced this, will experience this, have experienced this, or you will know somebody that's going to go through this. But continue prayers for all those that are going back to the office. Many of us have been working remotely, been going in, going out. Some of us haven't been in the office for 14, 15 months. And going back is challenging. Going back and getting yourself up in the morning and showering and putting your face together and getting your life together to go into the office and then having to be there for that long, it's definitely a challenge. And I know there's a lot of anxiety in that, and there's a lot of just focus that you need to be able to do that. And once you get probably through the first week, because you're going to feel like you're completely exhausted getting that first weekend, you'll be back into the groove. So continue prayers for those folks. If that's you, we're praying for you too. And I want to share, before we get started here, we are going to be in Genesis chapter 12 tonight, so go ahead and turn your Bibles. But I wanted to tell you that over the past month, for the first time, I don't think I've ever done this before, but journaling is a good thing. And I've had seasons of time where I've journaled, I've write the stuff down, there's sticky notes all over my office, there's notes, and I even have an old calendar that I had on my desk that I put faith things on, a piece of scripture, something I heard somebody say, something that means something, a thought that I had, whatever that looks like for a whole year. It's completely filled. And I often go back and look at that thing and, find out what happened in 2017 or 18 and, find out what happened on those days. And I can kind of go back and relive those moments. And it's been really good. So this past month now, halfway through May through halfway through June, I did a physical journal. which for exercise and stuff like that. And I specifically wanted to target bike riding. I have a stationary bike that I bought right when COVID hit because I have to do something physical. I have to maintain shape of some type, even though we all have a shape of some kind, right? Right, Gail? We all have a shape. But I logged my bike rides in for the entire month, and I was curious to see because I wanted to know how many miles did I actually ride. And this is important for tonight's message. And if anybody's got a guess, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to comment below and give me an estimate. What's your guess of how many miles that I rode this past month, in 1 month? Now, I didn't ride every day. Missed some days in there. We're up at the cabin sometimes. But just give me an idea. You know, most of the times, at least 20 minutes. I did do an hour ride one day, which was really cool. That was on a Saturday. It was a live event from a lady that is in Dubois. She's American, and she's got a channel on YouTube, so it's been pretty cool to be able to exercise with a training coach for free. So tell me how many miles I rode. So with that, I share that because with you, I share that with you not to impress you, not to show you anything else other than, yeah, that's amazing or whatever, but I'm writing things down as an example because it helps us remember. Pastor Thad even said that last week, that he's got to write things down. And I raised my hand because I have to write stuff down or I forget. My task list is very detailed in terms of what I need to do so I don't miss anything. But like last week, I shared that as followers of Christ, we already know what we should be doing, right? But we have to sometimes write these things down as a reminder to us. We have to write things down. Write down your prayers. That's my challenge for you this week. I want you to write down your prayers. I want you to write down your thoughts over something. I want you to write down faith steps, whatever that needs to be. Remembering down your road. It will help you looking back. It will help show you the path that you are on. Maybe it's not a good path. Maybe you need to write these things down to say and to show you that maybe you're not doing as bad as you thought you were. Or maybe you need to improve in certain places or areas. Or maybe you need to spend some more time in God's Word. So the promise, this devotional, is all about revealing what God said He would do. And He keeps His timeless, timeless truth in His Word. He reveals that to us through the promise by opening His Word. And sharing my physical health leads us also to our spiritual health, okay? Today is a checkup for all of us. I gave blood today. I went to the dentist yesterday. Everything's going fine. Sometimes we need a checkup, and today is that spiritual checkup. So they both go together. Spiritual health, physical health, mental health, our well-being, all of this stuff, our diet, everything works together for good. So opening God's Word and studying the Scriptures is absolutely fundamental. Right, Gail? Right, Mary? Right, Dad? The Bible and God's Word is instructions for us. The Holy Spirit illuminates, sheds light on God's Word. I love that word illuminate because illumination is God's Word going out. It's just enough light to show you the direction and your next steps. It doesn't light up the whole thing. God's plan does not give you the big, broad picture of what this thing is going to look like. When you start following Christ, you may not know what to do next. You may only be able to see this little thing. There is an old you that needs to leave and be done with compared to the new one. And illumination of God's Word is just enough to get you to the next place. Trusting God along those steps. It's God's Word. It's alive. So through Scripture, we are taught about God's character. We remember of God's faithfulness, and we are instructed on how to live holy lives in love, and we are convicted. We should be convicted in our shortcomings. Uncle Jimmy, we should be convicted. It should motivate us to do better. I look around in the world today, and there is nobody convicted of anything. Absolutely nothing. Living and take large, whatever it is that you want, say what you want, treat people the way you want. This is not the following way that God wants us to do. The things that we fall short on and the things that we don't do right and get right, we should be convicted to try harder to do those things. When we don't open God's Word and discover for ourselves, we lose focus of the truth. You let some time go by. Gail, help me out with this. You let some time go by where you're not opening God's Word, and pretty soon, it's almost like it's the furthest thing from your mind. It's the furthest thing from your heart. It's the furthest thing from your mouth. It's the furthest thing from your actions. We lose the focus. So we lose hope of God's speaking into our life, and the things of this world start to outshine the very things that are most important, and that is our Heavenly Father. When we have God's Word permeating in our hearts and we are looking for God throughout our day, our perspective is different. I want you guys to get this. Your perspective of everything, how you look at people, how you treat people, how you pay for the person in line behind you by paying it forward, how you just interact with people. There is something inside of you that is different that the world needs. And when you have God's Word permeating and living in you, and you are in tune with what God is doing and what He's wanting for you, and you're following the best that you can, there is a difference. People will notice something different. They may not know what it is because maybe they don't know Christ, and you are that light to illuminate God's Word for them. Our walk is so different. Our talk is different when we are close. Our perspective, it's our spiritual health. We all need a good report from our checkup, right? I think we could all use a checkup today. Through writing down prayers and reminders and passages of Scripture, maybe little notes and our aha moments, right? That's the Arby's thing on top of your head, except it's a cross, right, Gail? Mary, you know what I'm talking about, right? It will help us to get a good report on our checkup. So, Genesis 12, we're going to be in chapters 1 through 7. 350 years after the flood, after God saw the people building a great city and a tower to heaven. Why don't we just read that? Instead of me explaining, let's read this. Chapter 11, it was verse 5. Why don't we back up just a little bit, okay? But God's word came down to see the city and the tower and the men that the men were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Verse 7. Come, let us go down and confuse their languages so that they will not understand each other. Babel. Get it? Babel. We have different languages now for the first time on the earth. So the Lord scattered them over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it's called Babel, or Babel. Because the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Man, welcome to Abram. Abram makes an appearance. It is 350 years after the flood, and God is calling Abram. Genesis 12, 1 through 7. You guys ready? This is where we're going to focus tonight. It's our spiritual checkup. The Lord had said to Abram, leave your country. Leave your country. Leave everything behind. Leave everything that you know. Leave. I will show you where to go. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. God's word illuminating where to go. Follow me. I will show you. So verse 2, I will make you into a great nation. This is God's promise. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. If God told you that today, would you do it? Would you be like Abram and go and just drop everything to go? I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. God's got his back. And all the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you. This is huge. Verse 4. So Abram left, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. That was his nephew. Abram was 75 years old when he set out of Haran. He took his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions they had accumulated and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They left for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Morah in Shechem, the great tree. At that time the Canaanites were in the land, and the Lord appeared to Abram and said, to your offspring I will give you this land. So Abram, he's remembering God now. We've talked about this. So Abram builds an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. 350 years later, after the flood, and Abram travels through the land as far as the site of a great tree of Moreh at Shechem. A tree. A tree. A tree is mentioned in God's Word. I have read this a bunch of times, and the tree has never really stuck out to me until now. See, this tree sticks out to me more than ever today. I've read this book plenty of times, like I just said, and now this tree has a place. It has a mention in God's Word. A tree. Why? Are you curious to know why? I was so curious to know why. I took this passage, and I had to know why was this tree so significant. I skipped over this so many times as well, but this tree is a landmark. Guys, this tree is a landmark in God's Word. See, after the flood, this tree took root. The whole earth was flooded. Everything was dead that had breath in its nostrils, and every living plant, right? Dead. Everything was dead. But after this, the tree took root. Some say it was an oak, and some say maybe it was a different kind of tree, maybe from the region that's there. But it was no doubt this tree was huge. It's mentioned in God's Word. It has a place. It's a landmark. It's probably, it offered some shade. It had a spot for nesting birds, possibly. Maybe it offered some nuts of some kind for the animals. But listen, it's a landmark. But it's more than that. It's way more than that. It's a faith mark. Gail, it's a faith mark. This tree drawed Abram's eyes as he entered the land that God was about to give him. This tree stuck out, and it made contact with his eyes. And he drew him in. It drew him in there. This tree, it was a place to settle for Abram. It was a place to settle and to grow this great nation that God was speaking about. The promise of a great nation. This is where it begins. But there is even more. See, Abram built an altar there to worship God. The ground beneath it, it was holy and it was special. 175 years later, Morgan, Jacob would come and buy this land. Everybody knows Jacob. He built a well there. Watch the story. He buried all the foreign idols at the base of this tree. And Jacob's son would herd sheep there. Joseph got sold into slavery there by his brothers. And God's plan to save them from the future famine and to preserve a nation on his covenant with Abraham. These things had to happen, and they happened there. Hundreds of years later, Joshua returns with a nation. Millions of people, descendants of Jacob, at this very landmark, this faith mark. Joshua put a great stone there. Joseph is buried there. And Jesus would speak to a gentle woman, the Samaritan, at this well, near this great tree of Moreh and Shechem. Jesus told her the life story and declared himself the Messiah. This tree of faith mark provided by the Lord to the nation of Israel and to the future generations of Abram. This tree, it's got significance. It's a faith mark and a landmark. A faith mark on a rainy day after Mom died. I'm going to tell you this story. It's a faith mark. Do you have a faith mark? In your story, if you're looking back, if you've been following Christ, do you have a faith mark? After my mom died, I can remember driving into work, and obviously I had taken just a little bit of time off, and I wasn't ready to go back to work, and I wasn't ready to talk to people, and I was riding in my normal path on the way in. It was absolutely pouring down rain. And if you've ever lost someone close to you before, you know that you've had these conversations with God afterwards, saying, God, is everything okay? Can you give me just a sign to let me know that somebody's in heaven with you and that person's good? And I was having that conversation with my mom. And I said, God, can you just give me a sign? Right then and there. The rain stopped around my car, and the sun came out. My windshield wipers were going. There was another car that was going by, totally getting soaked. And I look at that spot every single morning. And it's in the road. It's right after 485 on my way into work. It's on a back road. And I think about that almost every single morning. That's a faith mark. That is something that God has done in my life. And it has shown me, it has illuminated for me what that is. It's a faith mark, just like this tree. And I'm sure that you have those stories as well. It's a faith mark. For you, is it a church? Is it a building? Was it a mission trip somewhere? Or maybe it was a talk with a parent, or maybe your grandparent or an uncle. Or maybe like when I visited my aunt and uncle that time, my Aunt Sharon and Uncle Buster, and we had a conversation in the back bedroom back there. Those are faith marks. Those are things that stick out to us, that are in our faith journey, that keep us focused and moving forward. Maybe for you it was a season of struggle and God did something, maybe a miracle for you, or a healing, or just gave you comfort. Whatever that was, maybe that is what it is. It's a faith mark. So this devotional, this week, I want you to write those things down, whatever it is for you. I want you to remember that day. I want you to remember those days if you have more. I want you to remember those things, whatever it is, that faith mark that God had changed you. He spoke directly to you, or He showed up in some amazing way. It may be even a peace that God was giving you in a very difficult situation. I've got some of those too. I remember each and every one of those. And looking back on this tree is a faith mark for generations of people to look back on and say, God did something here completely amazing, and it all ties together in the story and the journey. It's like this tree. God gives us our faith mark if we look back and remember. And we have to write these things down so that we remember. So, in closing, Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for faith marks, Lord. We thank you for these landmarks of faith that stick out to us, the things that you have stepped forward and done for us, showed us, taught us, illuminated your path for us. Lord, we love you and we thank you for that. I pray that whoever is needing these things, that they would be able to have the courage to reach out and be able to do that and ask for their own faith mark with you. Lord, we love you. We thank you, and it's all for your glory, Lord. Thank you. Yes, Carol. Carol's sitting here looking at me. She's letting the dogs out on me. But I hope this was good for you guys. I hope this is a good faith step forward for you, that you could write these things down. And, who knows, maybe a couple months from now, or maybe a difficult season that you're in now, you'll be able to look back and say, you know what, this really meant something. I can remember the tree that had a place in God's mention in His Word. And maybe it'll do something for you too. So I'll see you guys next week. I love you guys. Stay well, stay safe, and be a blessing. Go get that faith tree, okay? All right.